Raise your hand if you've ever stood at the end of your driveway, bag in hand, and had that quiet moment where you thought, is everything I actually need in here? Not your keys, not your phone, those are a given. I mean the other things. The things that make the difference between a walk that feels free and easy and a walk where some small part of your brain is quietly keeping inventory of all the ways you might be unprepared. I'm 72 years old, and I walk alone almost every single day. I've been doing this for years now, and I genuinely love it. My neighborhood is not dangerous. My route is familiar. I know every cracked sidewalk, every dog that barks through the fence on the corner, every stretch where the tree roots have pushed the pavement up in that one stubborn spot near the park entrance. I feel safe on these walks. I always have. But feeling safe and being prepared are not the same thing. And it took me longer than I would like to admit to fully understand that distinction. What I want to share with you today is what is actually in my bag when I walk. Not theoretical things, not items I read about somewhere and thought seemed sensible in the abstract. Things I carry every single time. Things that have actually been useful. And things that changed how I feel when I close that front door behind me and head down the driveway alone. None of what I am going to describe requires any technical knowledge. None of it requires a smartphone beyond a basic one. I am, and have always been, someone who prefers things that simply work without needing to be managed. Everything on this list qualifies. Before I get into it, I want to ask you something. If you currently carry anything specifically for your safety when you walk alone, something beyond your phone, I would love to know what it is. Leave a comment below and tell me. I have learned more genuinely useful, practical information from your comments over the years than I could possibly catalog, and I read every single one. Let us start at the very beginning. The first thing that went into my walking bag, and has never left it, is a personal safety alarm. It is a small device, barely larger than a house key, with a pin attached to a small loop. When that pin is pulled out, the sound it produces is remarkable. We are talking about a loud, continuous, piercing alarm that carries for a considerable distance. Anyone within range stops and looks in your direction. That is entirely the point. I bought mine after a friend described hers on one of our walks together, and I will be honest with you. My first reaction was that it seemed a bit dramatic. I walk in a quiet neighborhood. I go out in the daytime. What was I actually expecting to happen? But that reaction missed the real value of the thing entirely, and I understood that within a week of having it. The value is not in the emergency. The value is in the moment before the emergency, or in the moments where nothing is wrong at all, but something is slightly unfamiliar, or the street is quieter than usual, or the light is lower than expected. When I know the alarm is clipped to the outside of my bag where I can reach it without searching, I stop thinking about it completely. And that is the gift it gives me. It takes something the quieter part of my brain was monitoring and releases it. I am free to actually be on the walk. Mine clips to the exterior strap of my crossbody bag. That placement was deliberate and took some trial before I got it right. Here is what I want to tell you clearly. Anything that lives at the bottom of a bag is not a safety device. It is an object you own that happens to be in your vicinity. For a safety alarm to be useful, you need to be able to reach it without thinking, without digging, without stopping to look. The second thing is a small, dedicated LED flashlight. Not the flashlight on my phone, a separate one that I do not have to unlock a screen to find, that will not consume my phone battery, and that is considerably brighter than most phone torches. I know the objection before you make it. I only walk in the morning. I am always home before dark. That was exactly what I told myself for the first full year I was walking regularly. And then there was an October afternoon when I lost track of time sitting on a bench at the park. And by the time I turned toward home, the sky had gone that flat, silvery gray that comes right before full dark, and the stretch of sidewalk near the drainage area had no overhead lighting at all. I was fine, but I was also genuinely grateful I had the flashlight that day. And I have been grateful on other occasions since, when a walk ran longer than expected, or I took a slightly different route home and found myself on a stretch less lit than I anticipated. You do not need to be preparing for catastrophe. You simply need to acknowledge as a reasonable adult that not everything goes exactly as planned. One practical note: do not buy the least expensive option you can find. I did this twice before I spent a modest amount more on something with proper reviews. The cheap ones died within weeks. The one I eventually bought that cost a little more has been in my bag for 2 years and still works exactly as it should. The third thing is a portable phone charger. A small one, roughly the size of a lipstick case, that lives in the front zip pocket of my bag and can add several hours to my phone battery when I need it. My son Daniel gave me my first one, and I remember using it for the first time and genuinely not understanding why I had not had one sooner. Your phone is not just a convenience when you walk alone. It is how you call for help. It is how someone reaches you if they need to. It is how you navigate if you take an unfamiliar turn and want to confirm you are heading the right direction. A phone with a dead battery is none of those things. A small portable charger means that a phone that started the morning at 30% is not a quiet source of concern. These are inexpensive. They charge via a simple cable. You replace them once every few years. There is genuinely no reason not to have one. If you enjoy this channel and want to support my work, just look directly below the video player, right next to the subscribe button, and click the button that says join. That is how you become a Smart Organizer. Smart Organizers members get exclusive videos, a loyalty badge in the comments, and custom channel emojis. I would love to have you there. The fourth thing is not electronic at all, and I want to make the case for it carefully because it is easy to dismiss. It is a small laminated card in your wallet that lists your name, your date of birth, your blood type, any medications you take regularly, and 2 emergency contact numbers. I made mine at home on an ordinary afternoon, printed it on a piece of cardstock, had it laminated at the office supply store, and put it in my wallet. It cost me a few dollars and perhaps half an hour, including the drive. What it does is this. If something happens to me while I am out walking, and I am in any condition where I cannot easily speak for myself, whoever is trying to help me does not need to get into my phone. They have what they need right there. My 2 numbers are Daniel and my neighbor Patricia, who has a spare key to this house and knows where I keep my important documents. I review the card once a year and update it if anything has changed. Medications change, contact numbers change. The card should reflect the current reality. I understand that making a card like this feels like you are preparing for something bad. I want to push back on that framing. Making this card is not pessimism. It is the same thinking that makes you carry an umbrella. You are not hoping for rain. You are simply choosing not to leave things unnecessarily to chance. There is a real difference between those two postures. The fifth thing is a whistle, a small, bright, P-less whistle on my keychain. I already know what you are thinking because I thought the same thing. A whistle sounds like something from a school gymnasium in 1965. It does not sound like a sensible item for an adult woman's daily bag. But hear the argument out before you dismiss it. A whistle requires no battery and no charging. It requires no screen to unlock, no app to open, no arm strength, and no degree of calm. It works when you are startled. It works when your hands are not steady. It works when you have dropped your bag entirely. A properly made P-less whistle produces a sound that is audible at a considerable distance. And that sound communicates distress in a way that is universally understood without requiring any explanation. Mine is orange, which also makes it easy to locate quickly. I have tested it in my backyard a handful of times over the past 2 years, for no other reason than to remind myself that yes, I know exactly how to use it, and yes, it is as loud as I remembered. I recommend doing the same. There is something genuinely settling about that test. It turns an abstract object into a concrete tool. I am curious, do any of you already carry a whistle? Leave a comment and tell me, because I suspect most people have the same initial reaction I did, and I wonder how many actually end up getting one. The sixth thing is a reflective safety clip. A small piece of reflective material, the kind that attaches to a bag strap or a jacket hem, that makes you visible to drivers when the light is low. I added this after a conversation with a neighbor who had a frightening experience one October evening. She was walking in dark clothing. The streetlights had not yet fully come on, and a car came around a curve without seeing her until the last possible moment. The driver was not distracted, not speeding, not careless in any way she could identify. She was simply not visible in that particular light at that particular moment. That is a solvable problem. A reflective clip costs almost nothing and weighs nothing. I carry one in my bag year-round now because I have genuinely learned that I am not reliable at predicting when a walk that starts in good light will end in something dimmer. October is the obvious month, but there are January mornings and March afternoons and all kinds of other moments where the light changes faster than I expected. The clip means I do not have to get that calculation right every time. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, I would like to mention it because I post new videos regularly on practical topics exactly like this one. Things that make a real difference in daily life after 60 without requiring a great deal of money or technical expertise. The subscribe button is just below, and the bell icon will make sure the videos find you when they go up. The seventh thing is a small first aid zip pouch. Not a full kit, just the essentials. 4 or 5 bandages in various sizes, 2 antiseptic wipes in their individual packets, a small, clearly labeled zip bag with 2 pain relief tablets, and a few antacid tablets, because I am 72 and some mornings that is simply what is called for. This pouch fits in the inner pocket of my bag without taking up meaningful space. It has been useful more times than I expected, and not always for me personally. There was a morning at the park when a small boy fell from his bicycle near the entrance, and his knee was scraped in the way small knees scrape. His mother was there, but had nothing in her bag that would help. I had a bandage and an antiseptic wipe. That was the entirety of what was needed. The boy stopped crying within a couple of minutes and was back on his bicycle shortly after. I am not telling that story to suggest it was remarkable. It was a very ordinary thing. But I remember the relief on that mother's face when I opened my bag. And I remember thinking how strange it is that something so small and inexpensive and easy to carry can be exactly what a moment needs. The 8th thing is one I want you to think about with some care, because it is not an object you buy so much as a decision you make. It is the bag itself. After years of trying various configurations, I settled on a small crossbody bag that sits close to my body, has at least 2 zip pockets, including one on the exterior for items I might need quickly, and is not heavy when empty. That last detail matters more than it might initially seem. The weight of a bag, carried day after day over months and years, is not neutral. I feel mine in my shoulders when I choose wrong. And when the bag itself is light, everything I add to it still adds up to something I can carry comfortably for an hour without adjusting my posture or favoring one side. I also want to say something plainly because I think it is worth saying. An open tote bag with a single strap over one shoulder is not the right bag for a solo walk, particularly in an unfamiliar area or in a crowd. Not because the world is full of threats, but because a bag that is open at the top, that puts all its weight on one shoulder, and that offers no security for the items inside, is simply not the right tool for this purpose. You would not wear sandals for a 2-hour walk. The bag deserves the same practical thought. The 9th and final thing is the simplest and the one most people skip. A small folded piece of paper in the inner pocket of your walking jacket or tucked into your shoe with your name, your date of birth, and one phone number. I know that sounds unusual. A neighbor suggested it to me, and I initially thought she was being overly cautious. But she explained it this way. If you fall, if your bag ends up somewhere separate from you in the confusion, if you are in any situation where the circumstances are moving quickly and you cannot fully communicate, having your name and a contact number somewhere physically on your body means that whoever finds you or helps you has what they need without any of the complications. I keep mine written in clear, large letters on a small piece of paper folded into the interior zip pocket of my walking jacket. I have not thought about it since I put it there. It costs nothing. It requires nothing. And on the one occasion where I might genuinely need it, I would be very glad it was there. I want to close with something I hope does not get buried in all the practical detail. None of what I have described today is about walking in a state of worry. My daily walks are one of the things I value most about this chapter of my life. I go to a park I've been going to for more than 20 years. I watch the seasons change there, and I find it genuinely restorative in a way that is difficult to fully articulate, but that I trust completely. I feel safe on these walks. Most days I feel more than safe. I feel free. What I have described today is the difference between peace of mind that you have built deliberately and peace of mind you are simply hoping to have. When my bag is ready, when I know exactly what is in it and exactly where each thing is, I stop thinking about the bag entirely. And when I stop thinking about the bag, I'm actually present for the walk itself. The light coming through the trees in the morning, the way the air smells different in each season, the particular satisfaction of moving through the world under your own power, on your own terms, at whatever pace suits you that day. That is what all of this is really for. I would love to hear from you before you go. Which of these 9 things was already in your bag, and which one are you going to add this week? Tell me in the comments. And if this video was useful, please share it with someone in your life who walks alone. A friend, a sister, someone whose mother you worry about from a distance. That kind of sharing is the most meaningful support you can offer this channel, and I am always grateful for it. If you are new here and found this video useful, I would be glad to have you subscribe. There is a button just below this video, and I post new content regularly on practical topics for women in this stage of life. I would love to have you as part of the community here. I will see you in the next one.